Serena is arguably, if not one of the most popular characters in the Pokémon anime. Yet it wasn't always this way. There was a time when the person was irrelevant and forgotten, when her performance and showing in the game was overshadowed and criticized. A character with no substance, no personality, and nothing to show. But one series changed that, changing the character so drastically to turn out to be one of the most popular characters in the anime. This is how the X, Y, and Z anime redeemed her. Before we take a look at how she was redeemed, we must take a rewind back to 12th of October 2013, the release of Pokémon X and Y, and the first iteration of Pokémon games on the Nintendo 3DS. This release of new games introduced us to the Kalos region, the vast region based on the real-life France. Of course, with the release of a new region, we also got new characters. In the history of Pokémon games, we have had a variety of characters who varied in quality. Some were very good and memorable, while others were quite forgettable and lacked substance. However, XY introduced a new take on rivals. This new take was having rivals as friends. The game introduced 4 rivals who acted as friends you would occasionally talk to in battle. Honestly, this sounded good in theory, and this type of rivalry worked well in the black and white games. But unfortunately, this was not the case in X and Y. Literally, every meeting with your friends felt so forced and unethical. Most lacked personality, and the characters were just so boring. They all seemed to be parallel to each other, and their goals were so stereotypical. Characters were mostly hurt by the fact that you're seemingly tossed into that friend group without any context on each character, so you're unable to personally connect with them, so it felt more like strangers than friends. Each characters don't really have clear-cut goals either, and even if they did like Trevor, little effort was actually made towards their goal, and the lack of difficulties of these games really hindered the challenge of rival and made them less admirable. And this was exactly the same for Serena. Serena was the main rival if you chose the male protagonist, and her character was just plain boring. During the XY story, she just seemed like a tag mate and a battle partner. You either battle her randomly or battle with her. She doesn't really receive development, lacks personality, and I'm not gonna lie, in my first XY playthrough, I honestly found Shauna the most interesting character with more personality, and she wasn't even supposed to be the main focus. If not implied enough, I really found Serena's character boring, so when she was revealed for the XY anime, I wasn't too excited about her character. Probably just a trainer Ash would travel with and battle occasionally. But I couldn't be more wrong. Off the bat, Serena is introduced as a completely different character. This time she is starting off on her journey because of a childhood crush, but is quite unsure of their future and is pressured by their mom's decision for them. Just off the bat, you are able to relate to the character so much more. The fact we are given a bit of a prelude to her character allows the viewer to capture the character and her whole character arc. This could be relatable to a person going through the same experience. And gradually her whole story was relatable to me since I myself was unsure of my future as well. Her backstory also made us understand why she started her journey in the first place, and made more shipping a real thing at the time, but I'll get into that later. She also had a huge change in personality. At the start of the series she was bratty and sassy, but I feel like this is due to be forced in a situation that was unpleasant. When she eventually meets Ash and connects more with the gang, she really opens up more and develops more of a love of people and life, since she is doing something she is very passionate about and personally enjoys, which leads her to be a lot more kind and polite person rather than sassy. Serena in the anime was also switched from a primary battler to a performer, which really increased her significance as a main character, and not hinder her development or significance by being overshadowed by Ash's goals and skills if she was a battler as well. Her career as a Pokemon performer helped her find a clear-cut goal, and this goal evolves her character with a relationship with Pokemon and her willingness to do new things and making new rivals, which further increases her development. This added substance to a character who in the game lacked any change whatsoever. I can really appreciate this looking back. The next one I'll cover is a quite controversial one. It's Amore shipping. In retrospect, people may not appreciate it as much as they used to, but back in XYZ, Amore shipping was very popular, and this could be accredited to how much people wanted Ash to be in a relationship. And this really increased Serena's popularity. It's sad because people tend to base her popularity and personality solely based on the ship. I prefer to differentiate from that. I feel like the ship doesn't blindlessly control Serena. Rather, I feel like those events were really the defining moments for her and that elevated her character. Admiring Ash from afar was not a pure fan service, but she was able to adapt to the way he did things, his motivation, his passion, and what he does, so she's certain on what she wants to do, and was able to come up with creative ways to win, which he learned off him. Her series-defining moments were also sometimes indirectly related to the ship. One that comes to mind is when she throws the snowballs at Ash. People tend to say it was uncalled for, but this really showed how much she cared for Ash and her friends, and most importantly, being able to stand up for herself, being the alpha in the situation, and bring him back down to earth, and realize his wrongdoings and selfishness. People will also focus on her final kiss with Ash, but this is what people wanted. Ash to have a relationship with someone, and this was the closest thing he ever got, so people should feel satisfied with it. Her development honestly elevated her character so highly in the end. You can really see how humble and skillful she was in various things. Serena was just a very good character. People tend to focus on her flaws now since we are too used to focusing on her positive things, but she has so much redeeming factors. Her flaws have reasons. She may have taken too long to find a goal, but finding what you aspire to be in won't be some immediate thing. It may take experimenting your interest in various things before finding out what is your clear-cut passion and what you want to go forward with. Her relatability is what connects me to her as a character, and I really appreciate her development throughout the series, and really far exceeded people's expectations of the character. But imagine if Serena was never a character in the anime, or wasn't as well written. We could see her maintaining irrelevancy as a boring and bad rival. We should appreciate how good of a character Serena was, rather than dwell on her flaws, because everyone has something wrong with them. No one is perfect, but the anime in my eyes perfectly redeemed her from irrelevance.